Thank you. Thank you for joining the class. Um, it's a it's a blessing. Although unqualified, I got this opportunity to do this Bhagavatam class after a very long time, and I'm very happy to do this. Let's begin with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Agnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam. I'm going blank.
सहगुणा ललिता
Mataji?
सहगुणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्विताञ्च
सहगणललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपः कुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रये नमो महावधन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्रह्मण्य देवाय गोब्राह्मण हिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे ओम मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम् ओम अपवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थान् गतोऽपि वा यत्स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्ष सबाह्याभ्यन्तरं शुचि। श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु। हरे कृष्ण। Let's sing a bhajan. Second, give me 1 second. Ataji, I can share the screen, right? Desktop. Are you able to see my screen, Mataji?
Not yet, Mataji. Yeah, now yes.
Okay. That bhajan go. There you go. My favorite bhajans, Narottam Das Thakur has written. Radha Krishna Pranamura. राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा जीवने मरणे गति आरो नाही मोरा जीवने मरणे गति आरो नाही मोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोरा कालिंदीर कूले केली कदंबेर वना कालिंदीर कूले केली कदंबेर वना रतना बेदीरा उपार मोसा बोधु जना रतना बेदीरा उपार मोसा बोधु जना राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोरा श्याम गौरी अंगे दिबो चंदनेर गंधा श्याम गौरी अंगे दिबो चंदनेर गंधा चामरा धुलाबो कबे हेरी मुख चंद्रा चामरा धुलाबो कबे हेरी मुख चंद्रा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोरा गाथिया माला तीर माला दिबोदो हरगले गाथिया माला तीर माला दिबोदो हरगले अधरे तुलिया दिबो कर्पूरा तांबूले अधरे तुलिया दिबो कर्पूरा तांबूले राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोरा ललिता विशाखादि जत सखी वृंदा ललिता विशाखादि जत सखी वृंदा अज्ञाया कोरीबो सेवा चरणारविंदा अज्ञाया कोरीबो सेवा चरणारविंदा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोरा श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु दासरनुदासा श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु दासरनुदासा सेवाभिलाषा कोरे नरोत्तम दासा सेवाभिलाषा कोरे नरोत्तम दासा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा सुभद्रा जय जय सुदर्शन जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय पंचतत्वा 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 जय पंचतत्वा जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय संडे मॉर्निंग भागवतम रीडिंग की जय Hare Krishna. Prabhuji and Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances and let's begin the chapter that I am assigned. So this canto is 8th canto and the name is Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations. And the 16th chapter is Executing Payovrata Process of Worship. So just to recap, what happened until 15th is that Bali Maharaj has taken over all the demigods. So they have all been completely defeated by Bali Maharaj. And the mother Aditi is extremely worried and very anxious and as naturally, right, like any mother whose children are in trouble will not be happy. So she's extremely in stress. And at the same time, she is Kashyapa Muni visits the ashram, and he actually inquires why Aditi is looking so morose, whether there has been any violation in the prescribed duties, and trivargas and guest reception, sacrifices and sons and all that. But she assures that no, I'm your good wife and I always think of you. And when I always think of you, I have to follow the things that are close to your heart. So I have been doing all those duties, taking care of guests, all the basic prescribed duties, all well. But this is what has happened. My demons have taken away all our opulence, and all my sons have lost their rightful positions, and please help me. So he tries actually for a long time to make her be detached out of that lamentation, giving her the knowledge of how we are not this body, this is this spirit soul, and we should not have attachment and all that. But she understands that, but still she's a mother and she's not able to come out of that. So Kashyapa Muni decides that, okay, let me give her what will take her sons out of trouble. That's the only thing that will make her come out of this moroseness. That's what he decides. And Aditi asks, okay, what is the best process of worshipping Lord Vishnu? Because Kashyapa Muni says worshipping Vishnu is what we need to do when we when we actually follow the path of bhakti. And Aditi inquires, okay, what is the best process of worshipping Vishnu? And that's when he gives the details of how to conduct Payovrata. All that is happening, basic details of Payovrata processes are given, and mantras to worship the Lord, the Dwadasha mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and 108 times you have to chant it, and all that happens. So continuing, other rules and regulations to follow the Payovrata are given here. Okay, let's begin. The first one. निवेदितं तद्भक्ताय दद्याद् भुञ्जितवा स्वयं दत्वा च मनम् अर्चित्वा ताम्बूलं न निवेदयेत्. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One should offer all the prasada to a Vaishnava, or offer him some of the prasada and then take some oneself. After this, one should offer the deity Achamana and then betel nut, and then again worship the Lord. Lot of shlokas following only have translation, no purport, because it's literally standard operating procedures of doing any vrata, what to speak of Payovrata, which is to please Lord Vishnu. So prasadam is, as Prabhupada used to call it, Prabhupada used to call it, it is a gateway to a devotional life for many. And that's the reason he instilled prasadam distribution as one of the core standard processes of ISKCON. It is very important that whenever we do any puja or vratam at home, it is never completed without offering bhoga to the lordships, and then distributing that bhoga as prasadam to the attendees and devotees. It is very, very important. The one that who doesn't do that, it's almost a sin. We have read that in Bhagavad Gita. I was listening to a class from an Australian devotee. Melbourne ISKCON, morning class was going on, and that Prabhuji was saying, Prabhupada has this amazing knack of understanding the landscape that he is preaching in, and all his classes are tailor-made to that landscape and that audience. If you hear I mean, I've been observing this all the class, Prabhupada's class. This is my opinion. If you don't agree, that is fine. All the classes from Los Angeles, we hear that, right? Class from Los Angeles, 1974 September, like that. Most of the classes from Los Angeles, when I'm hearing that Prabhupada is stressing on some of the processes that we do, like book distribution or preaching, philosophy. Within India, if you hear Prabhupada's lectures that he has given within India, it's very, very philosophy based, and he will condemn the materialistic tendencies and all that. In Australia, he knew, and he told that Prabhuji was telling that he used to tell that Australians will never get philosophy. Feed them prasad. That's what he used to say. So people in even today in Australia, only major cities you can do whatever you want. Like, for example, even if you like go around on the street wearing a sari or with a big tilak, you are wearing dhoti, kurta and all that, people have less tendencies to observe you or whatever, right? Like they keep to themselves. But you go to the rural areas, even today, and if you are not looking like the common people, right? Like it is not welcome. It is not welcome. So this Prabhuji was saying one day he took his van alone, and he took his van and with a little bit of halwa in his van, and he just set out, no destination, and he started moving to rural areas. And he decided to stop the van, and decided to do the Harinam there. Although he knew, he's himself an Australian Prabhuji, he knew that probably this is not going to go well here. But he said, "Okay, whatever." And he stood across a chaurasta kind of a thing. For that small city, that's the busiest junction, but it's not busy at all if you compare it to any big city. And he started doing Harinam. And there was a man who was going in his car, and he stopped the car and he just ran like crazy towards this Prabhuji. And Prabhuji is wondering like, what will happen now? But he said, "Where is halwa? Where is halwa?" Like that he asked. Said he wanted halwa, the suji ka halwa. So he said that it's been a long time since people of your kind, he said. People of your kind visited this place, and I have been like craving to eat that halwa, he said. So he doesn't remember anything else, but he the prasada halwa. So prasadam is Krishna, especially very, very important, very, very important. And Prabhupada in one class on Krishna Prasadam, if you search in YouTube for Prabhupada and Krishna Prasadam, I think this is the first class that you will get. Prabhupada says, even if you are a vegetarian and you think that you are not killing any animals or any living entities, let's say, you are wrong. We commit sins unknowingly in many ways, and Prabhupada goes on to say how these unintentional sins are committed. In North India, they have this kulha, right, like tandoori they make. So when the tandoori is off, it's a very warm place, and in winter, lot of insects and lot of worms or lot of small living entities take shelter in those tandoori. And morning, the guy comes, he may clean or not clean, but he will put the fire below the tandoori, and that will kill all of them. That was not intentional though. Like that, when we are walking on the road, lot of ants, small living entities are getting crushed under our feet. It was not at all intentional. So the food, even vegetarian food that we cook for bhoga, has these unintentional sins attached to them. But so what should we do? This was one question as a in my childhood I could never answer when people used to say, oh, you think you're a vegetarian, but we know scientifically that even plants have life. You're killing the plants. Then how can you say that you are following the path of non-violence? And I didn't have that answer. Yeah, that is true. Plants are living entities. So what can we do? But Prabhupada says this is a very nice way to answer. Maintaining the body has some unintentional sins attached to it. If we want to maintain this body, we will end up committing sin. This is true for everybody, all living entities with a body. This is true. And there is a proper hierarchy for Jivo Jivasya Jivanam, right? So every living entity is a source of life itself for other living entities. That's how it is like hierarchically organized. But there is a hierarchy very, very neatly, very nicely presented. Those with hands, those they eat, the animals with hands can eat animals without hands. Animals without hands, only legs, can eat animals without legs. Like they have the legs and they eat those without legs, which are like sthavara jivatmalu. They are like unmovable, right? Like plants and trees. So like that. So there is a hierarchy to maintain this body, and we have to do those. We have to eat something, some food or the other to maintain the body. And why maintaining the body is important? Prabhupada says, without this body, how will you even do devotional service? It's very important. This body is the vehicle for maintaining, being able to do the devotional life. That's why it is very important to manage the body. And to manage the body, we need to eat food. And while eating food, there is unintentional sins that are committed. And we have to offer it to Lord. And when Lord accepts that offering, of course, depends on what we offer. Pushpam patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. So if we offer Lord what he wants to be offered, then he will accept it with love. With love, we have to offer, and he will accept it. And once he accepts it, all these unintentional sins will be taken away, just like how a fire engulfs everything in its way. How a fire engulfs in its way. That reminds me one more thing I read in the recent times. For some reason, I went to this page which is maintained ever since Hiroshima, Nagasaki bombs were, detonated in Japan by American Army, Air Force, right? I believe the bombs themselves were not, well, they were very powerful. They instantly killed 70,000 people, and in the course of next 3 months, 140,000 people were dead. But what happened was, after the detonation, the fire went on for months, and it burnt everything in its way. Everything in its way. That was the damage that really ruined the entire city. So the fire doesn't distinguish what is coming in my way. Oh, it is a very nice furniture, let me not touch it. It will engulf everything. Like that, Krishna consciousness fire will actually destroy all material tendencies and all sins if the proper process is followed. So although there was no purport, I sort of looked into the prasada and learnt a lot of things. And there are a lot of very nice lectures on prasadam by Prabhupada that you can see in ISKCON Desire Tree. So just thought that it's important to actually stop and think for a while to understand the importance of prasadam. Prabhupada also says that without prasadam, all of us, I mean, eating is a pleasure-giving activity. So before coming to devotional service, also we loved jamun, and now also we love jamun. What is the difference? Now the jamun that we eat, gulab jamun that we eat, is offered to the Lord. So even though the tendency and the propensity and the desire that erupts from the bottom of the heart upon looking at a gulab jamun, that I want it, sometimes while sorting out the chappan bhog also, we Matajis, we look at a prasadam that is really nicely made and like shrikhand or anything, and we say, okay, keep it aside. We will have it, right? So it is the desire, right? But what was the desire like before, when we were eating the same items without offering to the Lord? The tendency is the same, but because it is now offered to the Lord, those tendencies don't become sins. Although the tendencies themselves didn't change much, but because we are conscious about having it only after offering to the Lord, the tendency would have generated sin before, and now it has less propensity to generate it. But over the time, even that attachment and that desire to have a particular kind of prasadam should go away. Prabhupada explains in that Krishna Prasadam class. Yeah. So next, go to the 8.16.42. Anybody wants to read the translation, Prabhujis and Matajis?
I'll read it, Mataji.
Yes.
Thereafter, one should silently murmur the mantra 108 times and offer praise to the Lord for his glorification. Then one should circumambulate the Lord, and finally, with great delight and satisfaction, offer obeisances, falling straight like a rod. Dandavat.
Hari Bol. What is the mantra that needs to be silently murmured here, Prabhuji?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Right. So that was coming in the previous shlokas. So we have to murmur this mantra 108 times, offer prayers to the Lord, and circumambulate the Lord, and finally, with great delight and satisfaction, offer obeisances, falling straight like a rod. Hari Bol. 43. Amma, you want to read?
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After touching to one's head, all the flowers and water offered to the deity, one should throw them into a sacred place. Then one should feed at least 2 brahmanas with sweet rice.
Hari Bol.
Hare
This is what
Krishna.
we do. This is what we do, right? We actually smell the flower that has touched the feet of lordships, and it's dipped in Gopi Chandan, and we apply it to our foreheads, and also the water offered to the deity is sprinkled on all the present devotees' heads. We follow all these things. So Payovrata also calls for all these instructions to be followed. And then the last one, at least 2 brahmanas with sweet rice. Another thing that I have observed in Prabhupada's lectures, where he goes into the details of what should be fed, he always mentions sweet rice. And we know from all of the pastimes of Prabhupada that his disciples and everyone explain in their lectures, Prabhupada had a few fixed list of items that he never missed to offer on special days. And sweet rice was a constant, special or not special. So I tried to remember, we have learned from Anuradha Mataji, whenever there is a Chappan Bhog being planned, there are some items that should be there, like kachoris, jamuns, samosas. It's very important. And sweet rice. Sweet rice must be there. So, and it's it's the easiest also. So, feeding at least 2 brahmanas with sweet rice, very nicely given instruction. It's not just enough to make the rice. We should feed 2 brahmanas. Brahmanas means people follow who are attracted to the lordships and follow Brahminical ways of living. So it's very important. So 44, 45.
Mataji, I will read Mataji.
Yeah.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One should perfectly honor respectable brahmanas one has fed, and then, after taking their permission, one should take prasada with his friends and relatives. For that night, one should observe Shrik's celibacy, and the next morning, after bathing again, with purity and attention, one should bathe the deities of Vishnu with milk and worship him according to the methods formally stated in detail. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So it is self-explanatory. Sorry. Yeah. Next. Okay. Worshipping Lord Vishnu with great faith and devotion and living only by drinking milk, one should follow this vow. One should also offer oblations to the fire and feed the brahmanas as mentioned before. So this Payovrata will go on for 13 days, right? This is the first day. The continuous 12 days have to pass after this. In this way, until 12 days have passed, one should observe this Payovrata, worshipping the Lord every day, executing the routine duties, performing sacrifices, and feeding the Brahmanas. So this is in a loop now. He explained, Kashyapa Muni explained what are all the things that need to be followed, the rules and regulations of doing Payovrata. And then he says for the next 12 days, one should worship Lord Vishnu with great faith and devotion and living only by drinking milk. One should also offer oblations to the fire and feed the brahmanas every single day. Let's go forward. 48. Anybody wants to read?
I'll again read it, Mataji, if nobody is ready.
Yeah. And keep it unmuted, Prabhuji. We'll go on continuously.
Okay.
Yeah.
From Pratipat until the 13th day of the next bright moon, Shukla Trayodashi, one should observe complete celibacy, sleep on the floor, bathe 3 times a day, and thus execute the vow.
Yeah. Pratipat is Padhyami, the first day, right? And then Trayodashi comes on the 13th day. Until then, we are continuously doing all these things if we are doing Payovrata. Sleep on the floor, bathing 3 times a day. Even in fact, bathing 3 times a day reminds me another thing that Prabhupada says in his lectures. A true Vaishnava has to take bath at least 2 times a day, but it is recommended to take 3 times a day. So it's I mean in the places where it is really the weather is really hot, like at least in Andhra and Telangana, I have seen. First thing I observed in my in Praveen's house when we got married is that everybody was taking bath in the evening also. That is because of the weather. But here what Prabhupada is saying is that is also a physical cleansing, is an offering to the Lord. When we go near the Lord to serve, or even in the evening when we go near and take off all the flowers and turbans and all that, we should be very clean. We would have gone to restrooms and whatnot. It's very important to take bath only, then go near the altar. That really makes it very easy to adapt to this. Having deities at home actually drives a lot of behavior. Now I really understand how that was a master stroke that Prabhupada advised everybody to get deities, and deity worship is one of the very main 6 principles of Gaudiya Parampara, right? Because if we are serving the deities, certain kind of good behavior will automatically be infused, mechanically be infused. whether we are paying attention, doing it with lot of bhakti and shraddha, doesn't matter. You'll take bath. That's all that matters. So it's very important to keep ourselves physically clean as well. So that's what this translation is saying. Prabhuji, 49.
During this period, sorry, please go ahead. Somebody wanted to read.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji. Next one I'll read.
Okay. During this period, one should not unnecessarily talk of material subjects or topics of sense gratification.
Very
One should be completely free from envy of all living entities, and one should be a pure and simple devotee of Lord Vasudeva.
very, very important. Even after our preaching session, sometimes we sit with the devotees and we are talking very easily. The conversations, we will be eating prasadam, a class would have just wound up, but it's so easy to slip into some material mundane talks. It starts like this. Oh, the temple that you are building, Prabhuji, that area is so costly. You are very lucky you got this land from endowment department, and it just goes further into the real estate situation of entire Hyderabad. It's so easy to slip into something so mundane and material, because that is the tendency. Those are the things that our mind wants to talk about. But this is a very important instruction to sort of carefully avoid talking, or have the knack of turning every material conversation into something transcendental by bringing some kind of a spiritual principle that has to be followed there, like Prabhupada does. Prabhupada talks about so many examples of material world tendencies. That doesn't mean he is trying to discuss them, but he is discussing them in lieu of what spiritual injunctions say against them. So, like for example, there, a lot of people at the end of first few classes, we start anywhere in any new community. They are very touched by the selflessness. How do you do this? You're doing this so week after week. This is such a divine thing, and it's so hard for me to come. My husband doesn't like me to come here, or my in-laws doesn't allow me to come early in the morning, and it automatically goes into some kind of a complaint, fault finding mode. So one thing that I do is I don't want to know the details of what's going on in the relationships earlier on, right? Like we are just in the second or third of SSR classes. So I said, I just calm the person down and I say, Mataji, please don't worry. You keep coming and take back the prasadam and feed the prasadam. That will really help. It takes time, Mataji. It has taken time for everyone. It'll do so for them also. Don't be angry with them. Don't be mad at them that they're not coming or they're not allowing you to come here. Make sure that you have done your duties. They're not missing you, or something needed to be done urgently, and you are here sitting in the class listening. Finish that and come, and make sure that you take some prasadam back, right? We divert. We have to divert that unnecessary talk on material subject matters into what makes sense. So Prabhupada in this translation is saying the same thing. One should not unnecessarily talk of material subjects or topics of sense gratification. Okay, 50, Shilpa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translations and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Thereafter, following the directions of the Shastra with the help from Brahmanas who know the Shastra, on the 13th day of the moon, one should bathe Lord Vishnu with 5 substances: milk, yogurt, ghee, sugar, and honey. Panchamrita.
Very nice. So this instruction also has a lot of hidden meaning, and something that I personally try to follow, and have seen Anuradha Mataji and once Giriraj Prabhuji also told me that, Mataji, you have to fill the cups to the brim. It should be like if it is a solid substance like a rice, it should be like a heap. There should not be place left in the um, plate or the cups when we are offering. First of all, it should not be very small. We should feed the Lord thinking that he is like a 16-year-old boy. So that is the meaning of opulence that we are talking about here. Within the boundary of what we have, we should actually have the heart to present to the Lord everything, and that sense of opulence will make us fill the plates and cups very nicely. And also milk, yogurt, ghee, sugar, honey are representatives of opulence, and they're very pure. That's why they are called panchamrita, right? Panchamrita, 5 nectarian elements: milk, yogurt, ghee, sugar, and honey. They don't have any, usually, I mean, in today's age, milk is probably the most contaminated substance. But if we are having it from desi cow, then it is very, very, very unpolluted and very, very, very pure. We don't have to do anything extra to make it pure. It is already pure. And if we are making yogurt from the same milk, then also it inherits all the purity of the milk. Plus it itself, yogurt in itself is very pure substance. And what to speak of ghee? Ghee is also like that. And sugar that comes from sugar cane, and honey that comes from all the flowers that all the honeybees have collected. So these 5 substances have no contamination, supposed to have no contamination, and they're almost like how they appeared on this planet. They have not gone through any big processing. So that's why Panchamrita has very big significance. And whenever Abhishekam happens, these 5 substances are used to bathe the Lordship. So what is happening on the 13th day, on the Trayodashi, is that following the directions of Shastra with the help from Brahmanas who know the Shastra, so we have to bathe Lord Vishnu with the 5 substances, which are milk, yogurt, ghee, sugar, and honey. Next, 51 to 52.
Yeah. Shall I read, Mataji?
Yes, Chandramali Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Giving up the miserly habit of not spending money, one should arrange for the gorgeous worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the heart of every living entity. With great attention, one must prepare an oblation of grains boiled in ghee and milk, and must chant the Purusha Sukta mantra. The offering of food should be of varieties of tastes. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is what I was talking about for the previous shloka, that opulence within our day-to-day situation, as well as on special days like DT appearance day or festivals, whenever we have the tendency of having these festivals very opulently, right? Like just now Ganesh Chaturthi happened, and all of us in our communities, in many communities, they had Ganesha installed in their community pandals, and after 5 days, 7 days, the worship continued, and everyday prasadam, new opulent prasadam got distributed. But everything should be done for pleasing of the Lordship, not for the audience or anybody. Of course, we are the direct beneficiaries of an opulent bhoga that's offered, right? When it is offered, it is going to come to us as prasadam. But then the whole core principle in the mind and heart should be to offer it to the Lord, and we should offer very, very opulently, keeping a very nice big plate, big bowls, It's very, very important. As we are, doing these Sunday home, preaching sessions, we are visiting my home Tridasa every week. And now the sessions are happening in different houses every Sunday. So when the offering, when I ask people to do the offering or arrange the plate, either it comes in a very small, very small plates, very small bowls, or there is no bowl, everything is in the same plate. Or as soon as they say, oh, this is very small, you do have a big plate, they'll say, okay, I'll do it in a paper plate. So I watch it like once or two times, but third time I tell Mataji, can we please have a dedicated big plate and a few bowls, two to three bowls for offering to the Lord. It's very important. That is opulence within our own boundaries. It's not such a big deal to have a separate big plate for Krishna, big bowls for Krishna, and offer opulently for Krishna. So they say, oh, we are only two of us, that's the reason we don't have we don't offer in big plate. That is again keeping you in the center. Even then we can offer everything that is made for two people. Everything can go on the offering plate, and we can still have a big plate, and we can still offer big plate of prasadam, bhoga to the lordships. So that is the miserly habit. That is the miserly habit of not spending money. In one Mataji's home, we were actually cooking something, some bhoga. And she told me that she doesn't even keep like 100-gram extra cashew. Like very neat kitchen, like spotless. And everything, all the groceries were stored in like a 3 feet by 4 feet. It's a full-fledged family, and the husband, wife, and 2 kids. But she said that, no, I don't want to keep extra grocery at all. In the name of being super clean, and I don't want anything extra in my house. All these things also in a way miserly only, because at the time of need you won't have grocery, and you can't run to the shops, and you'll make do with whatever you have, although you had the capacity to cook opulently. What will happen when you're making rava kesari bath, and there is no cashew? You'll just make do with whatever is there, right? That becomes a habit. So keeping some good quantity of dry fruits is a part of devotional service. Over the time, being able to cook for like 40-50 people should be like a left hands game for all Matajis. Just 1 to 2 years in ISKCON. What to speak of long number of years? Even hundreds. We shouldn't. I mean, all of us, when we didn't have Bhakti Center, we used to take rotation, and we used to cook for at least 140, 150 people, even if we didn't have any prior practice nor the tendency, right? So miserly here means a lot of things, not just the regular miserly habit. I have the money, I won't spend it. It means it has percolated habits in daily activities as well. So it's very important that we are ready to receive 100 people. 100 people will not come every day, but every household should be ready to receive 100 people. That means we are thinking, how am I going to cook when that happens? Like we can start with 40 people and then go all the way up to 100 people. So as part of everyday classes in my home Tridasha, I'm also taking a small 20 minutes audio classes, how to cook prasadam, how to guess how much quantity to have. This is directly related to someone's IQ. Intellectual capability is directly related to knowing how much should I make for how much people, how much should I put. People who put perfect salt in the food, right? They are very high IQ people. It's not a mundane, brainless activity. So one thing leads to the other. I keep telling the Matajis that you not only become so good at cooking, you are learning so many new recipes. You will become so good at serving a good number of people that you didn't have the habit of serving on a regular basis. And you make food for them. When you make 3 items, what's the quantity I have to make? When I make 6 items, what's the quantity I'm going to make in order to feed the same set of people? Your brain is working. You become sharper and sharper. So this higher intelligence will really make us, give us some material intelligence as well, and we become sharp people. So that I think this is how I have observed, at least, the ability to cook the right quantity for the amount of people that are in the house, and forecasting, like pre-understanding that some people extra may come, and making a little bit more. All these things are very much part of devotional service, and it will help us to let go of some habitual miserly habits that we might have gained out of many things. Okay, so this is the way offerings of the food should be varieties of tastes, right? Like Chappan Bhog, we all do so many times, and we know that all the shad ruchis, 6 ruchis are there. That's what we mix in Ugadi Pachadi when Ugadi comes. So all those varieties of tastes, the food that can be bitten, chewed, suckled, drank, all kinds of foods should be offered. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, 53.
Hare Krishna.
Hello.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, please read.
It's okay, Prabhuji. You read,
Okay.
read. No problem.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One should satisfy the spiritual master Acharya, who is very learned in Vedic literature, and should satisfy his assistant priests, known as Hota, Udgata, Advaryu, and Brahma. One should please them by offering them clothing, ornaments, and cows. This is the ceremony called Vishnu Aradhana, or worship of Lord Vishnu. Hare.
Haripur. Keep unmuted, Prabhuji. You are reading all the way up to 62 now. Okay.
Okay, Matas.
So whoever has the habit of closely observing a Shraddha ceremony performed at home, they know that you need at least 4 Brahmanas, and they sit in a particular direction also. Hota, Udgata, Advaryu, Brahma. So they represent the 4 sections of our spiritual hierarchy, and they accept the prasadam on behalf of them. So it is very important to please the spiritual master. Satisfying the learned acharya and his assistant priests are very big part of any vrata, and also vrata. And we should not only offer them the food, the prasadam, we should also give them clothing, ornaments, and cows. This is the ceremony called Vishnu Aradhana, or worship of Lord Vishnu. These are the basic rules and regulations of any vrata that actually tries to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Vishnu. So these are this is how it ends. In the end, prasadam is first offered to the priests, spiritual master, and the people who are assisting him, and then it is actually distributed amongst all the rest of the attendees and in the ceremony, and that is called Vishnu Aradhana. 54.
O most auspicious lady, one should perform all the ceremonies under the direction of learned acharyas and should satisfy them and their priests. By distributing prasada, one should also satisfy the brahmanas and others who have assembled.
Yes. And if you hear Prabhupada's lectures on especially the distribution of prasadam, he says even chandalas. Who are the chandalas? According to Shastra, people who eat dogs. And there are people who really eat dogs on a daily basis. You have the northeastern states, it's almost a staple food and very common thing to eat dogs, because dog meat has the most protein, it seems, and that's why those sports people who come from the northeastern region are very good in the karate, kung fu, taekwondo kind of boxing kind of sports, because these sports require maximum strength below the knee. Below the knee, it really requires a lot of strength. My niece, who is a national taekwondo champion, had a very bad injury to her calf, to the level that she cannot even practice taekwondo anymore. That is because she's a vegetarian. The kind of stress that you put on your calf muscles while doing those sports is so much that the calf muscle should be very, very strong. And that kind of strength cannot come from vegetarian food. That's the reason those people eat, dogs. And chandalas do exist. My whole point was to say that chandalas are still there. So Prabhupada used to say that everybody should get, we should distribute prasada too. We should not discriminate while giving prasada on the road. We do that, right? We have served ISKCON abids during Rath Yatra and everything. We have never even looked at people with skull caps have come, left their chappals and taken the prasadam from us. This is a very regular thing for Jagannath Rath Yatra prasadam distribution. So everybody who have assembled there or in the vicinity should be called and given prasadam. Whether they're devotees or not doesn't matter. And we should distribute prasadam in such a way that even if nothing is left for us, we shouldn't care. We should just distribute prasadam. Although I know that this is very hard to practice. Sometimes we only we know that we have to leave some prasadam for the volunteer team to have and things like that. But when it is done in a very purest manner, we should not focus on keeping or reserving some prasadam to ourselves. It's very important that we distribute prasadam to as many people as we are able to see in our sight, in our vicinity. We should go after them and offer them prasadam. That's what Prabhupada says in that lecture that I heard. Okay. 55.
Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One should satisfy the spiritual master and assistant priests by giving them cloth, ornaments, cows, and also some monetary contribution. And by distributing prasada, one should satisfy everyone assembled, including even the lowest of men, the chandalas, eaters of dog flesh. Purport. In the Vedic system, prasad is distributed as recommended here without discrimination as to who may take the prasada. Regardless of whether one be a Brahmana, Sudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, or even the lowest of men, a Chandala, he should be welcome to accept prasada. However, when the Chandalas, the lower class or poorer class, are taking prasada, it does not mean that they have become Narayana or Vishnu. Narayana is instituted in everyone's heart. But this does not mean Narayana is a Chandala or poor man. The Mayavada philosophy of accepting a poor man as Narayana is the most envious and atheistic movement in Vedic culture. This mentality should be completely given up. Everyone should be given the opportunity to take prasada, but this does not mean that everyone has the right to become Narayana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So people, this is in Prabhupada is saying this because he knows that many people distribute prasada thinking that everybody is God. And that is wrong. That tendency to Advaita, right? Like Mayavada philosophy comes into picture there. They are distributing prasada because they are thinking that every man on the road that I'm distributing prasada to is Narayana himself. That is not true. That is not true. Everybody has Narayana inside their heart. We were reading second canto, I think it was 15th chapter or 16th chapter. And there the description of Paramatma who lives in our heart is said. 8 inches. He will be, the Paramatma in our heart is 8 inches with 4 hands. Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. He is holding it and he is there. We have to recognize every living entity to be part and parcel of that Paramatma and give. But that doesn't make that living entity Paramatma himself or herself. So that mentality is really, really completely wrong. That's Mayavada philosophy of accepting a poor man as Narayana. We should see Narayana in his heart, but he is not Narayana himself. So this mentality should be completely given up. See, the Prabhupada is so careful in crafting our consciousness in mundane activities that we do. So distributing prasadam is probably, all of us have held those gantas like gartis and serving spoons and distributed prasadam. What kind of mood that we should have, what kind of consciousness we should have while distributing prasadam is also very, very important. And that's what Prabhupada is drawing our attention to here. Everyone should be given the opportunity to take prasadam, but we should remember that they're not becoming Narayanas by eating the prasadam, or nor are we giving the prasadam thinking that they are Narayana. But we are actually thinking every living entity to be part and parcel, fragmented, integral part of Krishna, as he says in Bhagavad Gita shloka. And that's how we are not discriminating between a poor man or a rich man while distributing the prasadam. That's what should be our mood while distributing the prasadam. 56.
Yeah, translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One should distribute Vishnu Prasada to everyone, including the poor man, the blind man, the non-devotee, and the non-brahmanas. Knowing that Lord Vishnu is very pleased when everyone is sumptuously fed with Vishnu Prasada, the performer of yajna should then take Prasada with his friends and relatives.
Very good. Another very sensitive point that Prabhupada brings up here is that Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Everything we are doing is to please Vishnu, actually. Right? We are not giving people because they need it, they're hungry, or we have cooked very nice prasadam and we want to show everyone that ISKCON prasadam is the best prasadam. In the end, we are doing everything to please Vishnu. So that is the focus. And when Vishnu is pleased, everyone will be sumptuously fed with Vishnu prasada. And that's the reason we are doing it. And then we also have to take prasadam with friends and relatives if it is left. 57.
Hare
Translation by
Krishna. Can I read?
Yeah.
The translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Every day from Pratipat to Trayodasi, one should continue the ceremony to the accompaniment of dancing, singing, the beating of a drum, the chanting of prayers, and all auspicious mantras and recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Suma Mataji. So remember, this Payovrata is happening from the first day to 13th day, Trayodashi. So it should just continue, and it should all singing and beating of a drum and chanting of prayers and all auspicious mantras. As I was reading all the Payovrata instructions, I was thinking we do this for every aarti as well. That's what I was thinking. Most of the things. So we have to do singing, dancing, beating of the drum, chanting of the prayers, all auspicious mantras, and recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavato Anvaham. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 58.
Can I read Mataji?
Yes, Sanjeev Prabhuji.
Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is the religious ritualistic ceremony known as Payovrata, by which one may worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I received this information from Brahma, my grandfather, and now I have described it to you in all detail. Hare Krishna.
So here the whole ritualistic ceremony, religious ritualistic ceremony is explained. Rituals are very, very important. In one of the lectures from Radhesham Prabhuji, I heard this analogy for ritual and spiritual practices. Sometimes people think that being ritualistic is not important. I'm a spiritual person, and I keep all living entities well-being in my heart, and I think about it. I don't follow any ritual, but I really uphold the principle of protecting all living entities and all that. But rituals are also equally important. Rajesham Prabhuji says, rituals are like the skin of an apple, and inside the apple, the fruit that you have, the pulp that you have, is spiritual. If you peel the skin of an apple and keep it on the table, what happens? It becomes black, and the rotting process starts very fast. It rots much faster if you peel the skin versus if it is having the skin. So rituals are like the skin of the apple. But say there is a very bright red orange, very attractive sitting on the table, and you cut it and it's hollow. It doesn't have anything inside it. So the pulp of the apple, the inside of the fruit, is spiritual. So spiritual activities and ritualistic ceremonies both are needed in order to have the complete healthy fruit of devotional service. So ritualistic ceremonies are also very, very important. Keeping the altar clean, arranging the deities on the altar in a very attractive manner, dressing them up, decorating the altar very nicely with flowers and other ornaments. It is very, very important to be enthusiastic about that as well. So religious ritualistic rules and regulations of Payovrata has been in detail, step by step, has been explained to Aditi by Kashyapa Mahamuni. 59.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yeah.
The translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O most fortunate lady, establishing your mind in a good spirit, execute this process of Payovrata and thus worship the Supreme Person of Godhead, Keshava, who is inexhaustible.
Inexhaustible. Yeah. Next, 60. Read, Prabhuji.
Translation and purpose of Prabhupada Ki Jai. This Payovrata is also known as Sarva Yajna. In other words, by performing the sacrifices, one can perform all other sacrifices automatically. This is also acknowledged to be the best of all ritualistic ceremonies. O gentle lady, it is the essence of all austerities, and it is the process of giving charity and pleasing the Supreme Controller. Purport. Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhananam Paramam. This is the statement made by Lord Shiva to Parvati. Worshipping Lord Vishnu is the supreme process of worship, and how Lord Vishnu is worshipped in this Payovrata ceremony has now been fully described. The ultimate goal of life is to please Lord Vishnu by Varnashrama Dharma. The Vedic principles of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas are meant for worship of Vishnu. Vishnu Aradati Pantananyat Tattosa Karanam. Karanam. Sorry. The Krishna consciousness movement is also Vishnu Aradhanam, or worship of Lord Vishnu according to the age. The Payovrata method of Vishnu Aradhanam was initiated long ago by Keshava Muni to his wife Aditi in the heavenly planets, and the same process is bona fide on earth even now. Especially for this age of Kali, the process accepted by the Krishna consciousness movement is to open hundreds and thousands of Vishnu temples of Radha Krishna, Jagannatha, Balrama, Sitarama, Gaurneta, and so on. Performing prescribed worship in such temples of Vishnu and thus worshipping the Lord is as good as performing the Payovrata ceremony recommended here. The Payovrata ceremony is performed from the 1st to the 13th day of the bright fortnight of the moon. But in our Krishna conscious movement, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in every temple, according to the schedule of 24 hours of engagement in performing kirtana, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, offering palatable food to Lord Vishnu, and distributing this food to Vaishnavas and others. These are authorized activities, and if the members of the Krishna conscious movement stick to these principles, they will achieve the same result one gains by observing the Payovrata ceremony. Thus, the essence of all auspicious activities, such as performing yajna, giving the charity, observing vratas, and undergoing austerities, is included in the Krishna conscious movement. The members of this movement should immediately and sincerely follow the process already recommended. Of course, sacrifice is meant to please Lord Vishnu. Yajna Sankirtana Prayor Yajnati Hi Sumedasha. In Kali Yuga, those who are intelligent perform the Sankirtana Yajna. One should follow this process conscientiously.
Very good.
Conscientiously. Right.
Conscientiously. So thank you, Prabhuji. So Prabhupada is giving like a super bumper offer to all the potential Krishna conscious devotees, and cementing the faith for all the devotees that are already following Krishna conscious movement. So many rules and regulations were presented by Kashyapa Muni to his wife Aditi. Prabhupada is ending, almost we have come to the end of this chapter. He's saying that we are doing Payovrata every single day. Payovrata has to be performed from the first day to 13th day of the bright moon. But okay, then what happens from the 14th day, right? This is what happens. But in ISKCON, we don't have a breathing space. It's not like, okay, in the 365 days, 300 days, you have to worship Krishna. There is no such thing. Entire 360 days, 24 hours in a day, 7 days of a week, all the 12 months, we have to be involved in Krishna, worshipping of Krishna and Vishnu, all of the temples that we have, that he talks about, Jagannatha, Balram, Sita, Balram, Radha Krishna, Gaurnitai. We are involved. And there is a perfect timetable for every ISKCON temple from morning till evening, morning till night, actually, that has to follow, right? All the elements of Payovrata that we learned about, everything happens in one way or the other. You may think that, oh, we are not doing dana every single day, but we are every single day, we are thinking about distributing books, we are thinking about raising funds for temple construction, we are thinking about so many things. That is also you're donating your time and effort and money. Dana doesn't have to be always in a material form, right? We are extending ourselves. We are cooking for satsangs. We are taking chappan bhog to our devotee families, appearance days of their deities. Whenever something happens in a special day happens in one of the families of satsang, every other family is coming together and they are taking up services and they are doing it. Everything goes into following all of the rules of donation, right? Like, so Payovrata ceremony we learnt about is not anything unheard of for us in ISKCON. And who do we have to thank for it? Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON and gave us this amazing, no doubts, like very clear, like very, very crystal clear instructions of how to engage 24 hours of a day in service of Krishna. Not one, not two, multiple ways are there to absorb ourselves and engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness. So what Prabhupada is saying, if you are saying, is that, don't take this literally and start performing Payovrata at your home. I mean, you can do that. Even if you just follow what Prabhupada has given us as a set of instructions in Krishna conscious life, it is equivalent to performing Payovrata. The essence of all auspicious activities is included in Krishna conscious movement. That is the underlined conclusion here. Everything that we spoke about, the essence is already there as part of Krishna consciousness movement. And members of this movement should immediately and sincerely follow the process already recommended. Of course, sacrifice is meant to please Lord Vishnu. Yagnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti hi Sumedhasha. In Kali Yuga, those who are intelligent perform the Sankirtana Yagna. One should follow this process conscientiously. 61.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah,
Deepam.
Deepam. Hare Krishna.
Kumari. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. This is the best process for pleasing the Transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Adhokshaja. It is the best of all regulative principles, the best austerity, the best process of giving charity, and the best process of sacrifice. Purport. The Supreme Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Unless one pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to his demand, no good result will come from any of his actions. Dharmasvanushthitah pumsam Vishwaksena kathasu yaha notpadayed ratim shrama eva hi kevalam. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.8. If one is not interested in satisfying Lord Vishnu, Vasudeva, all his so-called auspicious activities are fruitless. Moghasha Mogha Karmano Mogha Jnana Vijetasaha. Because he is bewildered, he is baffled in his hopes, baffled in his activities, and baffled in his knowledge. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti remarks, Napumsakam Anapumsakenetyadi Naikatvam. One cannot equate the potent and the impotent. Among modern Mayavadis, it has become fashionable to say that whatever one does or whatever path one follows is all right. But these are all foolish statements. Here it is forcefully affirmed that this is the only method for success in life. Ishvara Tarpanam Vina Sarvam Eva Viphalam. Unless Lord Vishnu is satisfied, all of one's pious activities, ritualistic ceremonies, and yajnas are simply for show and have no value. Unfortunately, foolish people do not know the secret of success. Nate viduh swartha gatim hi Vishnu. They do not know that real self-interest ends in pleasing Lord Vishnu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Prabhupada really nails the point here. Unless everything that we do, unless we are focused to please Lord Vishnu as the single most important reason for doing that activity, it is not going to be useful. And everything else, even if people say that, that is one thing. Having the core aim of pleasing Lord Vishnu at the heart of all activities is one thing. And the other thing is doing anything else also he will be equally pleased is also a foolish thing. That's what Mayavada says. You do whatever you want, but he will be pleased. So that is also not true. There is what we need to do. There is a clear instructions on what we need to do and what path we have to follow in order to please Lord Vishnu. And only by doing that he will be pleased. I think yesterday Satya Prabhu has forwarded a video of a Prabhuji. I think it's Chopati, ISKCON Chopati, that Prabhuji is a researcher. And he is actually talking about Janagana Mana being, in Janagana Mana, Rabindranath Tagore is talking about Krishna. As you all know, it's taken from his collection of poems called Gitanjali, right? And it's a part of the poem has been taken out as our national anthem. But if you read the entire thing, and Prabhuji recites to
Hare Krishna.
Lilananda.
Krishna.
Krishna, huh?
Just 1 minute, Mataji. I'm showing video to see. Radha Pandarinath.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, much. Continue.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, brothers. Thank you for the Prabhuji is in Pandrapur. Yeah. Yeah, Pandranath ki jai. So, it was first thought of as he's glorifying George V, and Rabindranath clearly clarified that I'm not glorifying any George first, second, third, fourth or any George for that matter. I'm actually glorifying the charioteer of every human being on this planet, because of which this nation is great, that the charioteer comes from this land. So it is actually about Krishna. So the core principle of doing it for Krishna and pleasing Krishna, only then it is going to be the true devotional path. Doing everything and being able to please is a Mayavadi statement, and it is a foolish statement, as Prabhupada calls it here. So Ishvara Tarpanam Vina Sarvam Eva Viphalam. It's fruitless, it's useless if we are doing something and there is no Ishvara Tarpanam at the front and center of it. So they do not know Nate Vidhu Swartha Gatim Hi Vishnum. They do not know that the real self-interest ends in pleasing Lord Vishnu. So by keeping Vishnu in the center, we are actually keeping our real self-interest in the center. We are going to be benefited by keeping Vishnu in the center. So this is the last shloka, Prabhuji. Therefore, my dear gentle lady, follow this ritualistic vow, strictly observing the regulative principles. By this process, the Supreme Person will very soon be pleased with you and will satisfy all your desires. Purport. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th Canto 16th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Executing the Payovrata Process of Worship. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Yeah. So we are done with this chapter and my portion is done, Prabhuji's and Mataji's. We can spend 2 to 3 minutes on any question that any of you may have.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Praveen Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, actually, I'm not regular in this one, so maybe I missed something. Mataji, there's a 108 round, right? Circumventing that one. Then we have to say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Which scenario we have to say that mantra, Mataji?
So this is from starting from 25th verse to almost 49th verse, Prabhuji. The rules and regulations of Payovrata is explained by Kashyapa Muni to Aditi. He's saying, so all the demons are captured. All the demons have displaced Devatas, Prabhuji, in the 15th chapter. So Aditi, who is the mother of all Devatas, demigods, is very sad, and she wants her sons to be restored and given their due positions. So Kashyapa Muni is saying, you observe Payovrata. And then he is going on explaining how to perform Payovrata. In those things, one of the steps is to have this Dvadashakshara mantram, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and saying this murmuring this silently for 108 times and circumambulating the deity is one of the steps, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah.
So similarly, Mataji, when we start Bhagavatam or anything, right, we say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Only that time we can recite this one, right? Rest of time we are just reciting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra only.
That is the process that we follow, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay. So even still, if we have to go temple or we circumambulating that one, this one, at that time we have to say 108 or only for this Brata only, during that period only we have to recite this one.
Oh, Prabhuji, you can say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya also. But your vow of 16 rounds should have been completed by then, Prabhuji. It's
Okay,
not
okay.
like we are not in like comparing one mantra with the another, what is higher, what should be done where. Both the mantras are extremely potent, but we have taken a vow and we have a process in ISKCON and Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada has told us Mahamantra Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare is the supreme, supermost, topmost mantra that we can chant. And we have to believe that and we have to follow that. You can, after finishing your 16 rounds have been completed, then you can do 108 of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What to speak of that? Remember, Prabhuji, we went to Vijayawada after Kanakadurga, Mother Kanakadurga's temple. We visited Lakshmi Narasimha Swami's temple. Panaka Narasimha Swami, he is called. What the name of the place? I'm forgetting. There, Mangalgiri. We went to Mangalgiri temple, and in that we sat and chanted 108 times Narasimha Swami shloka that we do, right? With
Yes,
the
Mataji.
yeah.
Grambiram, yeah.
Ugram Viram.
Ugram Viram, we chanted 108 times. So
Okay.
remember, Prabhuji, this is the mantra that Sri Ramanujacharya got from his spiritual master, and he said, don't share it. And Ramanujacharya runs to a topmost place, and in his loudest voice, he said, he's calling people, come here, I'm going to give you the secret way to get liberated from this world. And he actually immediately shares, right? You remember that pastime?
Yes, yes,
Uh,
Mataji.
yeah, so all mantras are extremely potent. We should know that in order to really quickly achieve the goal of devotional life, we have to please Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, and these are the mantras that will really help us to do it. But that said, in ISKCON, Hare Krishna Mahamantra reigns supreme, and we all have taken vow that we will at least on the beads we do chant 16 rounds of this mantra, and we have to do that.
Got it, Mataji. Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah,
Dandavanam.
Mataji.
If I may add one point which I heard in one Bhagavatam lecture about this. So actually in when we were doing Rudra Gita, so in Rudra Gita, Lord Shiva actually mentions the four presiding deities for our subtle faculties like mind, intelligence, false ego, and consciousness. So in that there is a tagging, like for the mind, the deity, or like for the Chaturvyuha expansion, who's responsible is Aniruddha, intelligence is Pradyumna, false ego is Sankarshna, and consciousness is actually Vasudeva. The chitta, the chitta which is responsible for awareness of the Supreme Lord in the material world is actually Vasudeva. So that is the reason why you will see that in Bhagavatam also, wherever Narad Muni is actually advising, for instance, Dhruv Maharaj or Prahlad Maharaj, he invokes the that Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, because Vasudeva is basically that pure consciousness, and that way one who is there in the material consciousness can actually get that awareness of the Supreme Lord. That is what I have understood from the lecture. So I just thought I will share that point if that helps, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much.
But this was mentioned in Rudra Gita. Actually, Lord Shiva in those prayers in Rudra Gita, in each one he will actually describe this thing. So it is from Bhagavatam itself. It is explained.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Always a treasure of information, Mataji, and knowledge.
Mother, just keep hearing. I usually forget where I heard what I heard, but just when the right time comes, usually something will pop up in my mind. So
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing.
Hari bol, Hari bol.
Hari Bol Mataji.
Okay. Okay, if there are no questions, we can wind down.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
कृपा सिंधुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्ति वृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat pranam, dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranams to Provision Mataji.
Thank you, Suma.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the darshan, Prabhuji.
I was there. I was thinking it's the best time to do.
Yes,
Hari
yes.
bol, Hari bol.
Sorry to disturb your class.
No, Prabhuji, no, not at all.
Hare Krishna.